Tonight, breaking news from Mandurah, a child injured in a police car crash. Just announced your Australians of the Year for 2024. The Prime Minister unveils his tweaked tax cuts and sets the watchdog on the supermarkets. Not guilty, the elderly woman cleared of poisoning dogs belonging to her ex-friend. Vandals take an angle grinder to a statue of Captain Cook and cut it down. And why WA teachers are threatening to disrupt the start of a new school year.
This is 9 News Perth with Michael Thomson.
Good evening. Breaking news to start tonight. A young child has been injured in a car crash with a police car. Live to the newsroom for the latest with Jamie Freestone. And Jamie, it happened in Mandurah.
Yes, Michael. Just an hour ago, a police car collided with a ute on Mandurah Road at the intersection of Murdoch Drive and Ornat Street. The force of the impact caused the ute to roll and the roof on the driver's side to cave in. Inside the ute, a woman and a 3-year-old child receiving cuts to the head. Witnesses say the police car had its lights and sirens on when the crash happened. And a short time ago, another crash, this one on the Kwinana Freeway between Anketel and Thomas Roads. A vehicle flipped on its roof inside a couple in their 70s. Emergency crews having to work frantically to free them before they were taken to Royal Perth Hospital. Michael?
Jamie, thank you. The Australian of the Year for 2024 has just been announced at a ceremony in Canberra at Parliament House. And Michael Genovese, joint winners this year, scientists from Sydney who are curing melanoma.
Michael, they are. It's a remarkable story that these two professors have. Georgina Long and Professor Richard Scolyer, pioneers in the treatment of melanoma, known as Australia's national cancer. The trailblazers are credited with saving the lives of thousands of melanoma sufferers by using immunotherapy treatment. Richard Scolyer, who's 57, is also battling his own health issues, diagnosed last year with incurable grade 4 brain cancer. Since then, he's gone down the path of experimental treatment, fast-tracking discoveries that would normally take years.
Sadly, everyone knows someone with melanoma. It's as Aussie as our golden beaches and our sweeping plains. We're the melanoma gold medalists.
Our bronzed Aussie culture is actually killing us. So we call on advertisers and social media influencers. Stop glamorising tanning.
Also announced tonight, our senior Australian of the Year, Yalmay Yunupingu, a teacher, linguist and community leader in the Northern Territory. Emma McKeon, our young Australian of the Year, the most successful Olympian of all time for Australia. This year's local hero is David Elliott, the co-founder of the Australia Age of Dinosaurs Museum of Natural History in Queensland. Some worthy winners on that list, Michael.
They are inspiring Australians. Michael, thank you. The tussle over tax has begun with the opposition launching a scathing attack on the Prime Minister. But Anthony Albanese is adamant he's acting in the best interests of Australia.
With protesters chanting outside, "Albanese, you can't hide!" the Prime Minister, in front of friendlier faces, insisting he's not hiding, but helping.
Australians are looking for more help. Australians deserve more help. And today I can confirm that more help is on the way.
Anthony Albanese confirming a new tax policy, the opposition confirming new attacks.
He truly is the Pinocchio of politics.
The liar in the lodge.
I think at the moment the Australian Prime Minister owes an apology to the Australian public, but he hasn't given it.
I'll tell you what my integrity is. Not looking at low and middle income earners and saying, sorry, I'm just the Prime Minister, I'm not in a position to help you.
You won't have to wait for tax returns. The money will come in each pay packet, meaning when June rolls into July, those earning $45,000 per year will get $15.46 more in their weekly pay. For those earning $90,000, $37.10 more. For Australians on $150,000, more than $70 more. And anyone on more than $190,000 a year will get $87 more per week.
Is this really the best that Labor can do in the middle of a housing, rental and cost of living crisis?
This package will have to go through the Parliament. They say they want more.
This is the package that we'll put to the Parliament and we're confident that it'll be carried by the Parliament.
A new tax battle that began at breakfast.
When we find a better way to deliver bigger tax cuts to more people to help them with the cost of living, then our responsibility is to do that.
I think you should call an election and put the change position to the Australian people.
Advice from Treasury stating the redesign will not impact the inflation outlook, meaning no impact on interest rates. The Treasurer revealing he consulted Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock to confirm.
The Prime Minister insists this is not the end of cost of living relief, hinting at more support in the May budget.
Tax talk may be tiring, the government hoping the changes help everyone rest a little easier.
And Charles Croucher has more on what the government is doing to ease the cost of living.
The Prime Minister used today's speech to announce an ACCC investigation into supermarkets. There is already a Senate inquiry and a union-backed examination of grocery prices, but the consumer watchdog has greater powers. In particular, the ACCC will look at the disparity between what producers are paid for goods and what we all pay for those same goods at the checkout. Woolworths and Coles have consistently said they'll cooperate with all inquiries and have pointed to prices already moderating. Also tonight, there is more money for Consumer Group Choice that will help consumers find the cheapest prices at supermarkets this year.
The Premier has sent a warning to Basil Zemplis after 9 News revealed the Lord Mayor will run for the Liberal Party in the 2025 election. Roger Cook says councillors and mayors switching to state politics must follow the rules.
I noticed that the Mayor has actually undertaken fundraising efforts for the Liberal Party. He needs to familiarise himself with those protocols and ensure that he doesn't transgress them.
The Lord Mayor has until Monday to announce his intention to run for a seat in State Parliament. A 19-year-old man is behind bars tonight, accused of indecently assaulting a woman as she rode home from work at Crown Casino. Lachlan Dan arrested after a police manhunt, facing court today.
An accused predator taken into custody. Police say this 19-year-old attacked a woman in Burswood in the early hours of Saturday morning. The woman riding an e-scooter home from a shift at Crown Casino when it's alleged she came across Lachlan Dan in the Causeway Tunnel. Police say the 19-year-old threw the worker off her e-scooter, forcing his genitals towards her face as she begged him to stop, shouting, "I'm going to call the police." It's alleged the Wilson man then fled on foot with the woman's iPhone 13 and damaged scooter. Today facing charges of indecent assault, attempted aggravated robbery and aggravated robbery. Outside court, emotions high for the accused sister.
He's a beautiful young man. He wouldn't do anything like this. He's very out of character. They don't have any evidence or proof of him doing anything to that lady.
The prosecutor telling the magistrate police have CCTV before and after the attack and DNA matches.
Lachlan Dan was remanded in custody. He'll face court again on February 9th, where his bail will be considered. Genevieve Lamond, 9 News.
An alleged murder victim has gone undiscovered for 4 days at a Fremantle community housing complex. The body of 49-year-old Daniel Peter Berry was found in a room at St Pat's Lodge late Tuesday. Another resident at the Hampton Road facility, 53-year-old Michael Victor Harrison, is charged with killing him last Friday.
Bit rattled, you know, and some of the residents are a bit upset because they knew him.
The accused murderer is tonight behind bars. An elderly woman has had a major court win, cleared of killing her friend's dogs in an act of revenge. The 80-year-old dodged years behind bars, a magistrate finding no evidence she poisoned the pets.
She's described as a frail old lady who would never hurt an animal, and today a magistrate agreed, clearing Frances Blum of cruelty and criminal damage.
Very happy. Okay, that's it.
Police had alleged the 80-year-old poisoned Sandra Barriolo's 2 dogs in an act of revenge after her own pet, Yoppie, was mauled to death. The magistrate accepted Frances Blum's car was captured on the security cameras outside her former friend's home, but ruled it wasn't clear if someone got out and fed the dogs poison-laced bones.
Why would her car be in Beckingham, Bickley Road and Victoria Road at that time of the morning?
And even though Miss Blum told a neighbour she was going to kill the Belgian Malinois, the trial turned up no evidence she accessed the restricted poison strychnine. The magistrate fought back tears while describing the security footage of Kyra and Kayser's final moments, telling the court it saddened her to watch it.
We still have 2 dead dogs. That can't be changed, but at least we can move on with our life now.
Police ordered to pay defence lawyer fees of $20,000 and friends turned foes over man's best friend.
Don't hold grudges, you know.
Ezra Holt, 9 News.
The quiet was shattered inside a Perth shopping centre after a number of dirt bikes tore through the food hall. Police investigating at Woodlake Village shopping centre in Ellenbrook after it was overrun with kids on loud bikes. Police calling those involved reckless and dangerous, accusing them of exposing the public to unnecessary danger. A notorious bikie has been revealed as the target of a shooting in Lansdale. Brett Chaos Pecci claims he was out of the country when his partner's Sedano Glade home was peppered with bullets yesterday morning. The former Rock Machine gang member taking to social media, calling the gunman a scumbag for shooting up a property where children live. Gang crime police are hunting the shooter. The growing divide over Australia Day took an ugly turn today when vandals cut down a controversial Captain Cook statue in Melbourne. Indigenous activists and allies say the monument of the British explorer shouldn't be restored.
Hoodies and masks covering their faces, armed with angle grinders and spray paint. Magic, lights, camera, action. This was a carefully planned act of vandalism. The target, Captain Cook.
Erected a ladder on the side and then used electric equipment to be able to remove them. It made a lot of noise, there were a lot of sparks.
At 3:30 this morning, the metal sculpture was sawn off at Captain Cook's ankles and dumped on the grass with a rope around his neck.
It is a good way to make your message. Whether it's a good message, I'm not sure.
It's a part of history. That's Australia.
Residents called police, but by the time officers arrived, the culprits had left.
This sort of vandalism really has no place in our community.
The colony will fall was spray painted on the plinth. It's not the first time the statue has been targeted.
Captain Crook, as we say, he's the founding father of genocide in this country.
Police are also investigating a spray paint attack on the Queen Victoria Monument. You are now witnessing the power near the Royal Botanic Gardens. Heritage Victoria will come out to inspect what is left of the Captain Cook statue to see if it can be restored. In the meantime, there will be extra security patrols here and around other statues in the city of Melbourne. More than 100,000 people will gather at Parliament House tomorrow morning for the Invasion Day rally as calls grow louder to change the date.
This represents, the journey of the past, but we can talk about a new journey of the future.
We will be working with Council to repair and reinstate the statue.
Eliza Rugg, 9 News.
4 family members have now died in what's been described as Victoria's worst drowning in nearly 20 years. 9 members of the same family were visiting a beach near Phillip Island when tragedy struck. 2 off-duty lifesavers risked their lives to rescue 4 of the Indian nationals stuck in a rip. 3 couldn't be revived and the 4th died overnight in hospital. WA's teachers are threatening to ramp up industrial action if they don't get a pay rise fast. The union wants 12% over 2 years in what's the first test of the government's new approach to public sector pay.
More money and fewer students per class. The equation is simple for WA's teachers, threatening industrial action.
Teachers and our school leaders, they are overworked, they are underpaid and quite frankly they are over it.
The union's chasing a pay rise of nearly 12.5% over the next 2 years and wants classroom caps reduced from 32 down to 26 and for year 11s and 12s from 26 down to 25 to bring WA into closer alignment with other states.
Class sizes absolutely have an impact on our teachers. We're expected to do more with less.
Teachers will launch low-level industrial action starting next week, which includes boycotting some staff meetings. Students won't be impacted, but the union is threatening to escalate unless they get what they want.
Urge the teachers to continue to negotiate with the government. It's early days yet.
This is the first big test of the state's new relaxed public wages policy. Roger Cook scrapping Mark McGowan's pay freeze. It means for the first time in 7 years, unions may actually get what they're asking for.
Any negotiation over an EBA is an important opportunity to understand both the aspirations and the important wages and conditions outcomes that the unions are looking for.
They're looking for an offer ASAP. Michael Genovese, 9 News.
Police are searching for a Canadian man who's disappeared in the Pilbara. Ambrose Walton was staying at the Marindoo mine camp near Tom Price, but hasn't been seen for 2 days. The 33-year-old planned to travel to Brockman 4 camp as well as meet a friend in Karratha, but hasn't arrived at either location. He's believed to be travelling in this white Toyota Hilux ute with Schlam Engineering branded on the side. Kalgoorlie businesses demand a boost to the government's compensation payments after those unprecedented WA blackouts. There have been 17,000 applications for the $240 grants. The Premier visiting those affected today.
The lights are on, but the damage is done.
It's huge. The loss to the whole community is massive.
Anne-Marie Ryan was forced to shut her hair and beauty salon for 12 hours during the power outage, losing $8,000.
For small businesses to be able to recoup those losses, it's going to take a really long time. And for a business owner, that means no pay for me for a long time.
Premier Roger Cook visiting Kalgoorlie today for the first time since last week's storm, as locals urge the government to increase the $240 extended outage payment.
Like I said, it is a help, but it's not quite enough. That's just my feelings. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
That's the truth.
I have asked the Minister for Energy to advise me on what other forms of assistance we could provide.
Work to repair 5 fallen transmission lines which supply Kalgoorlie's power is ongoing. Completion expected next week. Power supply here in Kalgoorlie will finally receive its own boost, with the Premier announcing the 2 backup generators that failed last week will be replaced. But he can't say how long that will take or why the old generators tripped.
They were due for replacement anyway, so we will need to move to replace them now.
Michael Stamp, 9 News.
It could produce the biggest single lottery win in our history, and tonight's Powerball draw has given life to the idea of being in it to win it. Half of Australia's adult population will have a ticket for the $150 million prize to be drawn in the next half an hour. And your odds of winning about 1 in 134 million. But good luck to everybody out there. Sunny skies across the city today, but in our northwest, Kelly Haywood, a severe weather system's continuing to cause havoc.
Well, Tomo, a deep tropical low has made its way from the WA-NT border to the Pilbara coast and is tonight moving through inland WA. Now, it has already dropped more than 130 millimetres of rain to those towns across the Kimberley and Pilbara as it moved through, causing flash flooding, shutting down roads and breaking riverbeds. This is the Fortescue River in Newman. It today peaked at 5.37 metres, which is the highest level it's recorded in 44 years. While our severe weather system will dissipate in the coming hours, those on the other side of the country are bracing for impact from Cyclone Kirrily. It is expected to cross the Townsville coast tonight as a Category 3, bringing with it up to 200 millimetres of rain, destructive winds and a strong storm tide. So clear skies over Perth at a lovely Australia Day on the cards tomorrow. But later, Tomo, I will have your forecast for that and the first day back of school, and it is a doozy.
Which sounds great. Some wild weather in the north. Kelly, thank you. A plane mystery is next. Russia accuses Ukraine of shooting down a jet packed with its own prisoners of war. The bullet-riddled bodies of 6 people found deep in the Californian desert. Firefighters killed battling a huge blaze sparked by a tanker crash. And the simple test you can take to determine your bone health.
9 News, brought to you by Stan.
Russia claims more than 60 Ukrainian prisoners of war were killed when one of its aircraft was shot down. The Kremlin has labelled it a terrorist act, but Ukraine denies any involvement.
The last seconds of the doomed flight, disappearing behind buildings as it went down before a thunderous sound at a rising fireball. At the front of the plane, there was fire, this witness says. Then there was an explosion. Close analysis appears to show something falling from the aircraft before the crash. Russia says 74 people on board were killed, including 65 Ukrainians being transported to the border for a prisoner swap. The Aleutian military aircraft went down in the Belgorod region, which borders Ukraine. Russia says radars registered the launch of 2 Ukrainian missiles before the plane crashed. They shot their own soldiers in the air, their own. The Speaker of Russia's parliament told lawmakers, while Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in the United Nations called it a terrorist act. Ukraine did not say it shot down the aircraft, but did say a prisoner swap had been scheduled for the day, but claimed Russia had failed to give an agreed alert about creating a safe airspace.
We're obviously doing the best we can to try to get more clarity and more information on it.
Ultimately, establishing the truth may be as elusive as finding peace in this war. In London, Brett McLeod, 9 News.
No time to dwell on his victory in New Hampshire. Donald Trump is expected to return to the courtroom in hours in a sign of things to come for 2024. For now, his Republican rival, Nikki Haley, is insisting she's not going anywhere.
She's the last one standing between Donald Trump and a rematch with Joe Biden.
Donald Trump got out there and just threw a temper tantrum.
Nikki Haley standing firm against a seething Donald Trump.
Who the hell was the imposter?
He is furious. She has not dropped out after last night's loss in New Hampshire.
I know that's what he does when he's insecure. I know that's what he does when he is threatened, and he should feel threatened, without a doubt.
But tonight he's threatening anyone that makes a contribution to a woman he labels bird brain will be permanently barred from the MAGA camp. Nikki Haley has reportedly already lost a billionaire donor. That could lead to money drying up faster and her campaign ending sooner.
We need to unite around our eventual nominee, which is going to be Donald Trump.
Tomorrow, Donald Trump is expected to be back in court here in New York for the defamation trial brought by writer E. Jean Carroll, a woman he's already been found liable for sexually abusing. Courtrooms are now campaign stops for the man running on the line. He is a victim. In New York, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
There's been a gruesome discovery in a remote part of the California desert. 6 people found shot dead about 80 kilometres northeast of Los Angeles. There are reports some of the bodies were burned. 2 cars with bullet holes have also been found. And like a scene from a movie, in just seconds, these flames engulfed an intersection in Mongolia, erupting into a fatal fireball. 3 firefighters were killed and 11 others injured. The blaze starting when a truck carrying liquefied natural gas crashed into a car. A 12-storey apartment building also caught fire. If you struggle to walk 1 kilometre, it could be a worrying sign of weak bones and future crippling disease. Australian researchers uncovering a link between walking ability and your risk of bone fractures.
When Elaine Cotter developed severe lower back pain, she spent 3 years looking for answers.
I tried every medication they prescribed, and the pain was really strong. I just couldn't believe that it was just weak muscles and mild arthritis.
The real cause of her pain was finally uncovered after a bone density scan.
I had a severe case of osteoporosis in my spine and a milder one in my hips.
To help identify those who slip under the radar, researchers looked at walking ability and whether that could be a sign of long-term risk. When they analysed the records of 250,000 healthy Australians over the age of 45, 1 in 5 were found to struggle to walk 1 kilometre, and that was linked with increased risk of developing a fracture within 5 years.
People who reported difficulty walking 500 metres or 100 metres were at greater risk than those who reported difficulty walking a kilometre.
In fact, walking difficulties contributed to more than 60% of all fractures. It could be a simple way to intervene early.
And see if I should be investigated.
Experts say osteoporosis is the fastest growing chronic condition in Australia, and the consequences can be severe. 26% of people who suffer a hip fracture die within a year.
I think it's really important to screen early and not wait.
Gabriella Rogers, 9 News.
The cost of a stamp set to soar. Next, why Australia Post is hiking prices. A reminder to parents of teens about vaccinations. WA Police unveil their new high-speed crime-fighting jet boat. And Fishwatch makes the most of the last week of the school holidays.
9 News, brought to you by Australia's #1 selling vehicle, Ford Ranger.
The Australians of the Year for 2024 have been announced tonight, and we are celebrating joint winners this year. Scientists from Sydney who are curing melanoma. Professors Georgina Long and Richard Scolyer are pioneers in the treatment of melanoma, known as Australia's national cancer.
We stand here tonight proudly representing every melanoma patient and their families, but also those with brain cancer and indeed all cancers.
The Trailblazers are credited with saving thousands of lives by using immunotherapy treatment. With a new school year almost upon us, doctors are reminding parents their teens are eligible for vaccinations. Children in year 7 to 10 eligible for WA Health's immunisation program against diseases like HPV and meningococcal.
I think every parent wants to make sure their child doesn't get a brain infection or cancer. So getting their vaccines now before they're exposed is a real good opportunity to protect them.
The pandemic saw the number of teens getting high school vaccinations drop, with the rate right now sitting around 70%. A new price rise from Australia Post, this time the cost of a stamp set to soar to $1.50. The consumer watchdog has officially approved the increase that Australia Post hopes will help slow its massive financial losses.
The price of a stamp is set to jump 25% as Australia Post tries to claw its way back into profitability. The ACCC today approving a plan to raise the cheaper stamps from $1.20 to $1.50. Larger letters lifted to $3 and the biggest ones $4.50. The watchdog acknowledging this will have some impact on consumers and small businesses, but Australia Post still says it's not enough.
That 30 cents still doesn't get us anywhere near covering the cost of delivering letters, but it's taking us in the right direction.
The National Postie delivered a $200 million loss last financial year, triggering an overhaul from the government and regulator. Letters now only need to be delivered every second day, allowing it to focus more on its parcels. And it says it handled 100 million of those in just the last 3 months.
Letters are in an unstoppable decline, is the reality, but we've got the support we need. In the short term. We'll continue to work with governments on that.
They've got a long way to go before they can compete on an even footing with big commercial partners like Amazon, who are offering free delivery to members within 24 or 48 hours. Australia Post is nowhere near that quick, and they cost more.
There could be more price hikes to come, but for now, the ACCC estimates this increase will only cost the average household about an extra $4 a year. That said, they will be holding open submissions until February 15 before making a final decision. Chris Kohler, 9 News.
Royalty reform and tax credits for mining companies, they are two ideas being looked at by the state and federal governments as a lifeline for WA's nickel and lithium industries. Resources ministers meeting with industry figures from across the state.
We didn't talk to specifics. We're very keen to work with government to ensure that there is a conversation around what a production tax credit would look like for our industry.
Today's summit called after mine closures as a result of a global oversupply in battery minerals. A new crime fighter is taken to Perth's waterways, giving our police the gift of speed when it comes to tracking down those in the wrong. The $500,000 vessel now patrolling our southern waterways.
Nearly 300 horsepower and with a top speed of more than 30 knots an hour. This is the new jet boat WA Police are adding to their fleet on the water.
The absence of a propeller means that they provide a lot of flexibility.
The 7.5 metre vessel arriving in the Mandurah estuary just in time for the long weekend, typically one of our busiest days on the water.
A time when our water police, amongst all of our police, but particularly our water police, will be incredibly busy.
And while it'll call Mandurah home, this jet has the capacity to travel far and wide.
The boats are completely trailable, which means they can be deployed
boat anywhere in the state.
The strength of this vessel is in the inlet. It can go into very shallow waters.
Usually 2 officers will crew the vessel, but come November, when new drinking and boating laws come into effect, that crew might increase to 3 to begin breathalyzing skippers for the first time. Yvonne Ardley, 9 News.
Fishing fans have been out in force making the most of the last of the school holidays, and there's also only 1 more week of demersal fishing allowed, as Carl Langdon reports.
A reminder that the West Coast Zone, which covers the area between Kalbarri and Augusta, closes to demersal fishing on the 1st of February. It reopens on the 1st of April, so get out and enjoy it while you can. Like Zoran did off 2 Rocks last weekend, boating this thumping jewfish, weighing in at 19.3 kilograms. He was not the only one to haul in a nice jewfish. We had plenty sent to us to 9 on Facebook. Here is Ruth, Lindsay, Ella and Greg, along with Lee Williams, who caught this one from Cervantes. She obviously is a 9 Fishwatch fan. Check out the cap. The self-proclaimed squid queen, Trudy, also caught a jewfish and plenty of squid. One of my old West Coast Eagles teammates, Peter Wilson, scored a nice bluefin tuna. Where is the net, Willow? To the north of the state, Emma posed for a snap with a black spot tuskfish. Lauren, a nice golden trevally, while the Broome Creeks have been producing many barramundi. Jana Boffey, crabbing in the Peel Harvey Estuary and Mandurah, did really well, with good-sized crabs turning up. And lastly, Adam Jarrell, the president of the Perth Game Fishing Club, tagging and releasing this blue marlin on Saturday out of the back of Rottnest solo. That's a great effort ahead of the Perth Marlin Cup that gets underway on the 7th of February. Go to pgfc.com.au for all of the details. And if you do go out fishing and have some success, send us your pictures and videos to 9 on Facebook, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Carl. A storm in a teacup. Straight after sport, the curious ingredient experts say will give your brew a taste boost. And are you a multi-millionaire tonight? We've got the winning Powerball numbers for you. But first, Paddy Sweeney is here with Sport. And Paddy, a thrilling first semi-final at the Australian Open.
Absolutely, Tomo. Last year's women's champion faced her toughest assignment yet, up against one of the game's brightest stars. Semi-showdown, Sabalenka and Goff take court for a place in the final. Australia run riot early before the Windies hit back at the Gabba. And Ross the Boss shakes things up at the Saints. Aryna Sabalenka is on track to defend her Australian Open crown, becoming the first woman through to Saturday's final. The world number 2 booking her spot with a straight sets victory over Coco Gauff. Sabalenka yet to drop a set this tournament.
2 champions, but only 1 spot in the final.
Job done. Sabalenka is back in the final.
The first set lasting just under an hour, both refusing to give in. 2 breaks of serve in the opening 3 games.
Oh, the scene is set. What a frenetic start.
Sabalenka trying to loosen the tension, leading 5-2, suddenly losing her grip on the match.
Oh, wonderful.
The reigning champion breaking back to stay in the first set before clinching it in style.
Sabalenka has won the opening battle, but it looks as if there is much more to come. The defending champion, 7-6 in the first.
19-year-old Goff proving her biggest test.
We're back on again here.
The second set, another seesawing affair. Alexander Zverev through to face world number 3 Daniil Medvedev in a semi-final showdown.
What a test from Zverev. Could have been in straight. Mentally, he came back, and that is the finest win.
After upsetting Carlos Alcaraz in 4 and finding a new way to win.
So I was rushing him quite a lot. I was playing extremely aggressive. If you let him control the points, if you let him control the game and the pace of the game, he's unbeatable.
In his toughest match yet, Zverev pulling out his greatest weapon.
I mean, this is some serving display from Zverev at the moment. He's really not letting Carlos Alcaraz get into any of these points.
Alcaraz making 11 unforced errors, more than double his opponent in the first. The world number 6 cruising to a 6-1 lead.
Wonderful display from the German, and in under half an hour.
Claiming the second 6-3 before the Spanish sensation appeared to be staging a comeback, winning the third 7-2 in a tiebreak.
You just never know.
The more than 3-hour match causing Zverev pain, but all was forgotten with the joy of victory. West Aussie Matt Ebden and 43-year-old Rohan Bapana through to the men's doubles final, a thrilling match decided in a third set tiebreak.
An ace to seal it.
Storm Hunter unable to join him, losing her #1 women's doubles ranking, bowing out in the semis. Alexia Pesce, 9 News.
A stunning fight back from the West Indies has breathed life into the second test at the Gabba. Australia reducing the visitors to 5 for 64 before a century partnership between Hodge and De Silva wrestled back momentum. Late on day one, the West Indies are 6 for 213.
A day-night fixture farewelling the Test summer. COVID keeping WA's Cam Green at length, but still part of the side.
You're a brave man trying to tell one of these boys they're going to miss a Test match.
Australia unbeaten in pink ball matches. Josh Hazlewood with the perfect start.
He's coming him out.
Or at least it seemed. Replays showing an inside edge.
Okay, I need you to reverse your arc decision to not arc.
Not long after Hazlewood had his man.
Hazlewood is relentless. He just hits it, and eventually gets it.
The paceman's only concern, Green getting close for comfort. Captain Cummins then getting in on the act before Mitchell Starc begun the onslaught.
Edged and taken, beautifully done.
The left arm quick, unplayable in the opening session, claiming 3 for 11, passing another milestone.
Edged and gone. Mitch Starc has 350 Test wickets.
Resuming at 5 for 69, but a contrasting second session.
Beautiful shot down the ground from De Silva.
Joshua De Silva and Cavum Hodge producing the Windies' best partnership of the series.
And put away, full toss.
Fancy footwork required, ensuring they remained at the crease. In just his second 5-day match, Hodge passing a momentous milestone.
It's 50 for Hodge, his first in Test cricket.
De Silva following suit shortly after.
100 partnership and 50 for Joshua De Silva.
The duo keeping the hosts at bay for more than 4 hours, building a competitive first innings total. Erin Harwood, 9 News.
Spencer Johnson's record-breaking night has helped the Brisbane Heat claim their second Big Bash title, thrashing the Sydney Sixers. The Heat's 166 was never in danger as the Sixers crumbled, bowled out for 112. Michael Neser with a brilliant piece of outfielding. Johnson's figures of 4 for 26, a new benchmark in the decider.
It's it straight up. Look at the big man move, Spencer Johnson. He's got another 4. He's bowling his team to victory in a Big Bash final.
It's the Heat's first BBL title in 11 seasons. A cruel blow for Carlton's Jack Silvani, a ruptured ACL at training today, ending his season. The 26-year-old missed finals last year due to a right knee issue, now again sidelined following a mishap this morning.
Jack was running, it planted his left leg and changed direction, and unfortunately I think he felt a pop, and scans confirmed an ACL.
And St Kilda are searching for a new CEO, Simon Lethlean, departing immediately. It's understood friction was growing between he and coach Ross Lyon.
It wasn't perfect, but I think they both did their best to make things work, and they had a workable relationship. Ross is absolutely the boss within the football, within the players' environment, and he's doing that very, very well. Ross is not seeking to in any way control the board, control the club beyond that, and if he tried, it wouldn't go well.
Lions Fitzroy teammate Carl Delena is the interim CEO and favourite to fill the role permanently. And finally tonight, Liverpool has set up a date with Chelsea in the League Cup final after getting past Fulham. Holding a 2-1 advantage from the first leg, the Reds taking the lead in the first half.
It's a real chance for Luis Diaz, and it's in. Liverpool get the first goal of the second leg.
Fulham levelling the scores but ultimately falling short on aggregate. The Reds now face the Blues in the decider on February 25. That's a fixture they have some success going back a couple of years.
They won it many times.
Absolutely. Arena Sabalenka, the first one through to the women's final. She has had a perfect Australian Open defence so far.
That rivalry is going to be something to follow. Paddy, thank you. The secret ingredient that could be missing from your perfect cup of tea, that's next. Plus, a classic Aussie jingle gets a hard-earned remake. Then the school holidays are almost over and Kilda forecast is out for the first day back.
And it's not the forecast the parents of Perth are going to want to hear, Tomo. Regardless, I will have it for you next, plus the latest on your long weekend, including your public holiday tomorrow. All that coming up very soon.
There's a storm in a teacup tonight over what makes the perfect brew. An American academic infuriating tea drinkers by claiming the secret ingredient is a pinch of salt. It's forced the US Embassy in London to hit back, saying such an outrageous proposal threatens the very foundation of our special relationship. It's believed salt counteracts the bitterness of the tea, and that is definitely a storm in a teacup. Domino's pizza shares collapsed today on weak sales and growing competition. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
Back in 2021, Domino's Pizza was a superstar. The share price was around $162. Now it's under $40, crashing 30% today alone after reporting weak sales across Asia. There's also that thorny issue in the back of investors' minds. Pizza Hut is making a comeback, suggesting late last year it might be planning to open another 400 stores. So that was the major crash on the market today. Domino's thrown out, box and all. But everywhere else, things were mostly solid. The share market will be closed tomorrow for Australia Day, but has notched up 4 positive days in a row this week. And the Australian dollar is a bit weaker, buying 65.75 US cents heading into the long weekend.
When it comes to advertising, we love a jingle, and a popular beverage is now bringing back its famous anthem. Victoria Bitter launching a new campaign with a big dose of nostalgia.
How does it happen? You're down in a mine, or painting a sign, or strain until you thought you'd burst.
Our favourite jingles keep coming back for another generation to grow up with. Qantas once again called Australia home in 2022, and last year Vegemite gave its catchy tune a 100th birthday makeover. Now VB is back, acknowledging those with a hard-earned thirst with a modern twist.
This man's doing more than fixing a bike. He's a surgeon of steel.
It's not just about hard work, it's also around the brains that goes into it as well as the brawn.
Wood divided by saw, multiplied by elbow grease. He's the Pythagoras of eucalyptus, the Einstein of pine.
It's got a great hook, and of course we've got that iconic voice of William McInnes as well.
The ads will screen from Sunday, but will they catch on like they did in the 80s and 90s? Advertising guru Russell Howcroft thinks so.
Great to see VB's just going back to its heartland. Of course, the soundtrack, we all love the soundtrack, and of course, you know, the power of sound.
Whether you're enjoying a VB in a pint or you're a happy little Vegemite, nostalgia can hit you any old how. And that's why I expect to see our favourite jingles being used for generations to come.
What made a brand strong in the past is highly likely to make the brand strong right now.
Nathan Curry, 9 News.
Tonight, history has been made. The $150 million Powerball draw has jackpotted again, meaning it will be the largest on record, but you may still have won a prize tonight. So we'll give you the numbers, and what you need is 21, 9, 27, 6, 1, 26, 4, and the Powerball number is 10, but it's jackpotted again. Wow, it's going to be huge. We have the official forecast for the first day back to school, and it is a doozy. Kelly with the weather next.
Welcome back. Well, a deep tropical low that battered the north and inland WA will finally dissipate tonight. The system missing the city with nothing but blue skies here. We reached a top of 28 degrees today. On the satellite, you can see that low. It is now making its way towards the Bight, and it's weakening as it moves. Now, that will bring the tropical cyclone will bring showers to Cairns tomorrow. with a maximum of 35 degrees. Then a very warm 38 expected in Sydney, and Melbourne will be showers and 22 degrees. Jumping across the border into WA, 33 is the top in Broome tomorrow, with a windy 36 expected ahead for Carnarvon. Heading further south, 30 and windy for those in Jurien Bay, and in Esperance you're looking at a maximum of 21 degrees. Now, if you are taking the boat out for tomorrow's public holiday, there is a strong wind warning in place and seas are expected to reach 3 metres. Now, in Perth tomorrow for your Australia Day public holiday, we are looking at a top of 31 down into an overnight low of 16, sitting at around 26 degrees at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, but it will feel more like 22. So if you plan on heading out to watch the fireworks, you may want to pack a jumper. Now, Saturday we can expect a top of 33, cooling slightly before we reach 38 and 39 for the first day of school on Wednesday. That's a scorcher to kick off the school year, Tomo.
It certainly is, Kelly. Thank you. Enjoy your 9 on 9. We're going to go back to the tennis. Hope you enjoy that and look forward to your company tomorrow.